Well, welcome to this interview to spotlight the leadership team at Creative Community Services. Today, my guest is Brandie Chapman. Welcome, Brandie.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm well, and I hope you're doing well also.
I am. I am.
Well, for our viewers, let me share a little bit about the background for Brandie. She is the Director of Developmental Disabilities Program for Creative Community Services, and she's the liaison for performance quality improvement and strategic planning also. She's from Detroit with deep family roots in Mississippi. And she earned her MBA in 2011, and her work in the intellectual and developmental disabilities community began in 2013. Before Creative Community Services, Brandie worked with CSS Healthcare as a program manager. She was responsible for person-centered care and program leadership. She's a driving force at Creative Community Services, and she brings years of service and a passion for advocacy to make a difference in the lives of others. Why don't we start with this, Brandie? Tell us, how was it that you came to be involved with Creative Community Service? What was the impetus for your passion to get involved with this organization?
So, to be honest, I honestly just kind of fell into it. And it's interesting because looking back at a lot of provider meetings that we've had with a lot of state providers, a lot of people get into this line of work by either one, having some deep personal experiences with working and caring for family members who have developmental disabilities. So they really understand the needs for that. Or the other option, you just kind of fall into it. I was one of those people that honestly just kind of fell into it. I had recently moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I was looking for work. I had just gotten my master's degree. I knew I wanted to be in healthcare or social services, but I didn't really know exactly which specific line of work with the healthcare and social services. And I was working with a payroll company, and I met a healthcare professional who was looking for someone with management skills. And I honestly just kind of like fell into it. And it's really been a really, really good experience ever since. So that's how it happened.
Well, that was certainly an interesting start. Why don't you share with us some of the key programs that you direct and the clients that you serve?
Yep. So I work with adults with developmental disabilities. We focus on residential supports for our adults. They are unfortunately unable to live on their own independently because of various related health conditions. And so we provide host home providers to help support them so that they can still work on their independence and different life skills, but they still have that supervision in place to help them in the areas that they're unable to do on their own. So a lot of people don't know about what an actual host home provider is, but it's very similar to, if you think about the foster care model, it's very similar to that, except we're working with adults that are 21 and older, and we're working with them on independence and life skills, but having that support system in the home. And this is permanency, long-term care for adults. And so we work with adults ages ranging from like 21 up until 85 years of age. So we have that piece. Then we have the performance quality improvement piece. So this supports making sure that CCS is doing best practice with all of our programs. We have a lot of programs here. We have behavioral supports program, foster care, kinship, developmental disabilities, and our SOAR program, which is our, and then we have a respite program as well. So I am the liaison for the performance quality improvement for all of the programs, which helps me to really understand how our programs kind of intertwine with each other. So I've been doing that for CCS since 2016. We use a lot of that data for our accreditations that we get reaccredited every 4 years. And they always speak very highly of our performance quality improvement. We actually have the data to back up what we're doing, what we're implementing for best practices. And then strategic planning, being the liaison for the strategic planning for the agency, I started doing that about 2 or 3 years ago. And so that's also been a really good experience. It's been a joy because I get to interact with everybody from the different departments, and we are continuously tweaking and working on the different measures that we have so that we can be the awesome company that we are for the last 40 years.
Well, I know you've really put your MBA to use there in terms of the strategic mindset that you bring to bear on that particular aspect. The other thing that impresses me, Brandy, is when you're talking about what happens after they age out at age 21, you are really a safety net there to help bridge the gap as they work their way into the community and beginning to live their life away from a lot of the support systems they've had in the past. Am I
Yep.
reading that wrong? I mean, this
No,
is
you're correct in that area, especially with our foster youth. If they have an identified developmental disability, we can actually get them qualified for the waiver program, and we can also get their foster parents approved to be host home providers as well, because some of them will have such a good life sharing match with this family, they don't want to leave this family, but they still need other additional like clinical supports, case management supports, just depending on that our foster youth's medical or behavioral needs. And so we can keep that long-term care, foster care, everybody ages out at that, like between that age of 18 and 20. So being able to have a program that specializes and keeps them with either that foster family or identifying another family that they can go to and still being able to provide this circle of supports for them is a really cool thing. And there are not a lot of foster care programs, at least in the state of Georgia, that are licensed and trained to be able to provide both programs. So it's pretty awesome that we can do that. And then we get to keep those relationships with these youth and adults that we've grown to love over the years.
I know too, because you're involved with all those different programs as a liaison, for the quality improvement, one of those is the reality fair. Now I've had a chance to be involved with that. I think that's an awesome program that Creative Community Services does each year because I have seen firsthand how, especially for the youth, maybe not so much the adults, but especially the youth, they're learning how do you deal when you go to the grocery store? How do you go to the bank and deal with your money, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. Do you want to speak anything to the impact that that program's having is in terms of the overall impact of moving people, getting them ready to get into the
Yes. Absolutely, yes. It's like one of the highlights for the agency each year. I love watching them because we give these little scenarios, and some people, real life experiences. Everyone doesn't always get best case scenario and, have that good paying job and able to afford having a lot of kids and having different bills and things like that. So it's funny watching some of their reactions because the reality fair, the reality actually hits. Oh, okay, I have to make different choices because of the circumstances that I have. So how do I do this? It really puts things in perspective with them. You may not be able to buy a fancy, Range Rover, but you probably can afford a Toyota Camry that's going to help support getting your family to and from. So it's a lot of fun, and we love the vendors that also participate because the more vendors that we have, the variety of vendors that we have, it really does help kind of set that tone, and it helps give them that financial understanding of how to make good life decisions and make good financial choices as they're getting ready to go into adulthood. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
yes, and I know that the corporate sponsors that you get really appreciate being able to give back to the community in a way like that because it really helps those that are doing that particular reality fair realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize there was so much involved with life.
Exactly.
Somebody else was always looking after this aspect of it, and now I need to take responsibility for it. Well, can you share with us, I don't know, pick one of your favorite stories maybe that you'd like to highlight about the impact that your program's had?
We have about 40 plus individuals in our program. Some of them have been with us. I mean, I've been with CCS for going on 10 years now, and they were here many, many years before I've gotten here. But one of the one of the highlights is a young lady that was in our foster care program, and she was able to transition over to our adult program, and she she was what we thought for the most part was nonverbal and would not really engage or say things to us. And she had been with us for years. And it really is about, that's why life sharing matches are so important, and having a team around being able to identify, okay, this may be a better fit, trial and error with with trying to get certain things that they may be interested in. But we placed this young lady with a new host home provider, and she just did such an amazing job with working with her. And the family consultant also did such an amazing job working with her. She actually started speaking to us. And that was just so mind blowing to like watch her development over the years, to go from not speaking at all to having behavioral challenges to doing a complete 180, not really having a lot. I would say at least like a 80%, 85% decrease in those behaviors, and being able to verbally communicate wants and needs to that host home provider and to that family consultant, which really increased her quality of life, and given us a better understanding of what she's interested in, what she likes, what she needs. And so seeing situations like that where somebody wasn't even communicating, we didn't even know that they could communicate, and now they're actually communicating, using words, using complete sentences, that's why we're here. It's great to watch her development, and she's still with us. So
Well, that is a truly
I love that.
transported story about the impact that Creative Community Services is having. And I'm sure that you've got many, many other stories that are similar to that. Somebody that really breaks out
Yep.
that shell, if you will, of being nonverbal, and suddenly is being able to and motivated to find other ways to communicate. That's
Mhm.
truly an amazing story. Now, what are some of the ways that our viewers can get involved to support the mission to CCS?
I would say if anyone's interested in like mentoring or volunteer work as it relates to our social program. So we have a social program. We try to get our individuals out. Like one of our guys, he called me the other day and he was like, "Hey, when are we going to go like to the park or something? I want us to go and have fun as a group and do an activity." So they'll vocalize certain things that they want to see every year with us. And so having additional resources and supports to be able to do things in our social program, I think would be very helpful. And that can include things like transportation, or if anybody's interested in sponsoring certain events, that would be helpful. We have really good host home providers that do the day-to-day work that is necessary for our folks to have a good quality of life and work on life skills building. But we want to promote that fun community piece a little bit more as well, and just open them up to more resources out in the community. They know they have this huge CCS family support, and they love us, but we want to expose them to just more opportunities and more resources out in the community. I think would be good.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for this interview. And tell me, what points of contact would you like to share if anybody would like to get in touch with you or with anyone there at Creative Community Services?
I can give my email address if anybody has anything for us. Do you want me to just spell it out, the email?
Well, it's probably B. Chapman.
Yes.
Yes, CCS Georgia, all spelled out .org, I'm guessing.
There
And
you
what
go.
about the website?
Yes, it's at creativecommunityservices.org. And it has all of our program information on there, so people can have a really good understanding of what we do for the community. So those two options be a good start.
Thank you again, and I hope you have a blessed afternoon.
You too. Thank you so much.